You recording?
It was around 10 years ago when the oil company BP spilled 205.8 million barrels of oil and 225,000 tons of methane into the ocean. It sounds like a lot because it is. To put that into context, one barrel is about 42 gallons of oil, so 42 of those plastic milk containers you'd see at like Acme or Mom's Organics. Except Mom's does that weird like glass thing. Anyway, multiply 42 gallons by 205.8 million, and we've got more than enough oil to stack every Acme and Mom's Organic in a 100-mile radius for centuries. Anyway, going back to the actual oil spill, I'm gonna make things a little worse by letting you know only about 25% of the oil was actually cleaned up. That means there's still 150 million barrels of oil just sort of chilling in the Gulf of Mexico, and at this point it's gonna be nearly impossible to just sort of scoop it out. While there were a ton of issues with that incident in particular, I want to focus more on how it affected the ecosystem that is the Gulf of Mexico. In 2009, scientists estimated that 15,419 species resided within the Gulf of Mexico. It's a lot. It's good. The oil spill, however, still took a pretty significant toll in the Gulf of Mexico with some scarily high statistics of destruction. In terms of birds, 82,000 of them were injured or killed when the oil spill happened. The brown pelican, which was literally just taken off the endangered species list about 5 months before the spill, was kind of punted right back into the danger zone of near extinction. Sea turtles weren't quite as heavily affected, but considering that there's a surprisingly low amount of different species of sea turtle within the Gulf, their approximate death toll of around 6,000 could absolutely have been a big deal, assuming that it was misproportionate to spreading the death around the sea turtles. Now that I say that, that sounds awful. But at the end of the day, I actually couldn't find out that much information about the sea turtles, so if you want more information, you'll have to dig a little bit deeper. On the other hand, marine mammals had it significantly worse, with nearly 26,000 sea creatures affected by the spill. Even worse, the oil somehow limited reproduction potential in animals such as the orca whale, which, in the grand scheme of things, is a pretty big no-no when trying to ensure that your species doesn't die out. In terms of fish, invertebrates, and plant life, it's a lot harder to accurately measure just how they were affected. The bluefin tuna was pushed nearly to extinction by the spill. Oil particles float around in water to this day, posing a threat to all marine life. Oil settled into large stretches of vegetation, both under and above the ground, killing and poisoning the life around it. Some pretty scary stuff. But what does it all mean? Surprisingly, it means the Gulf of Mexico was actually okay. Sure, a lot of individual species suffered, but because of how strong the biodiversity and life within the Gulf of Mexico was, it was able to bounce back, albeit slightly weaker than what it was before. Obviously, the richness and evenness was affected. You know, some species were very close to extinction after the oil spill, and depending on where the oil was, a lot of life was lost kind of misproportionately to others. And of course, with any incident like this, where death is pretty significant, all affected species genetic pools get a little trim off the edges. I'm not trying to understate how much of an absolute disaster the Deepwater Horizon spill was. I'm not trying to say that the oil that remains in the ocean will not take decades and decades to clean up, and it will not poison any more wildlife. I'm not trying to say that spilling 200 million barrels of oil, or 8.4 billion gallons, into the Gulf of Mexico isn't a big deal, because it is. What I'm trying to highlight is that the only reason why the oil spill wasn't nearly as devastating as it could have been is because of the biodiversity within the Gulf of Mexico. It's a hard ecosystem to kill. But right now, we're doing a pretty good job of trying our best. Oil rigs still drill there, and for some reason, safety regulations concerning them are being rolled back. Doesn't make any sense. We like this ocean. We really do. We like making money off those disastrous oil rigs. We like studying the science and the species within the Gulf of Mexico. Heck, we like just having fun at the beach, playing in the waves, and just hanging out. What people need to realize is that if we keep doing things like spilling 200 million barrels of oil into the ocean, there's not going to be much ocean left to enjoy. It's definitely something to think about. Most of the information in this video I got from the Center for Biological Diversity. The Coastal Classroom also provided the statistics of species present in the Gulf of Mexico in 2009. If you want to learn more about the Deepwater Horizon spill or anything else I mentioned in this video, it's just a Google search away. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.